The patriarchy isn't something that just lives inside of old boys clubs or courthouses or boardrooms. Patriarchy lives inside of every single one of us through guilt, shame, self-hatred, humility, people-pleasing, and the need for external validation. This is called internalized patriarchy, and it's the force that holds you back when you need to confront someone. It's the force that silences you during a meeting. It's the force that makes you bite your tongue when someone disrespects you. It's the force that holds you back in every single element of your life. And that's not by accident. That is a design feature of the patriarchy, because by internalizing the system, you've immortalized it in your body. So you can go out, you can fight, you can write letters to your member of parliament or your congresswoman, you can go to protests, you can speak up about things, sign petitions, you can do all of those things, and those are great things to do. But the system will never, ever, ever crumble until you unlearn your internalized patriarchy. As women, we are like patriarchy sleeper agents because we've been conditioned from childhood to perpetuate and internalize patriarchy unconsciously without even knowing it. So without consciously unlearning the ways that we've been groomed by the patriarchy, we can't dismantle the system in our own lives and more broadly in society. And we also can't succeed in the system, because you can't just opt out. There's no opting out of the system, because that just means automatic loss. You will lose by default. But there is a way to navigate through the system, find its loopholes, exploit the loopholes, unlearn the ways it's groomed us, and build the best possible version of yourself and of your own life within this system. But that all starts from unlearning your internalized patriarchy and then finding alternatives that will actually help you rather than hinder you. So this is what I call hacking the patriarchy, because patriarchal power operates as a software. And once you understand the back end of that power, you are actually able to find its bugs, find its viruses, and reprogram it in a way that is favorable to you. So one of the main ways that we have to do this, first and foremost, is by unlearning the moral compass that has been ingrained in us through patriarchy, religion, culture, and other forces that tell us this is objectively right and this is objectively wrong. So I'm going to read a passage from How to Hack the Patriarchy because it exemplifies this really, really well. And if you're familiar with Nietzsche, then this probably sounds familiar to you. So according to Nietzsche's theory of slave and master morality, society is divided into masters, the powerful and wealthy minority, and slaves, the poor and oppressed masses. Master morality establishes what's good, right? It values strength, ambition, power, pride, and it's based on self-affirmation of the masters. Okay? Basically, they're stroking their own egos. Slave morality establishes what's evil, and it's rooted in envy and resentment. So this is the victim mentality. So slave morality is reactive to master morality. What the slaves label as evil, the masters have labeled as good. Okay? Ambition is evil, and it's virtuous to be humble. Power is evil, and it's virtuous to be obedient. Desire is evil, and it's virtuous to live in self-denial. So on and so forth. You get the idea. Now, extrapolating this to patriarchy. Patriarchy is based on slave morality. Not because women are powerless and they're the slaves, but because patriarchal morality is based on Venus envy or womb envy. It views our ability to create and sustain life as this unearned advantage that we have. And depending on how you view it, you might not view the ability to create life as an advantage. You might view it as a disadvantage. But regardless of what you think, the system is quite envious of it. And so it's resorted to creating an unearned advantage for men through patriarchy, religion, law, and moral codes. So because patriarchal slave morality is afraid afraid of female potential, afraid of the power of self-actualized women, it's resorted to creating a morality that demonizes the traits that would actually enable us to unleash that power, to step into the highest versions of ourselves. So what's labeled as bad for women, like assertiveness and ambition, is labeled as good for men. And what's more is that things that are labeled as good for women, like being nurturing and caring and taking care of other people and taking on the emotional burdens of other people, those are things that actively hinder us. And what's even more, if you want to go from worse to worser, is that those traits also weaponize our ability to create life against us, because it creates this archetype of the nurturing, caregiving woman, which is what we naturally are. So naturally, we have to take care of everyone around us, which is great propaganda if you think of it, because if you're too busy taking on the emotional burden of other people and putting yourself last, you're never going to succeed. Great marketing on the patriarchy's part. You got to give that to them. So patriarchy hack number 1, stop being guided by right and wrong, is all about how to unlearn this arbitrary morality and to replace it with a new form of morality that actually serves us. Another control tactic of the patriarchy is guilt. This is patriarchy hack number 7, remove guilt from your emotions. Guilt is a control tactic of the patriarchy, but it's also a filter. Okay. Guilt is what happens after your desires, your ambitions, your wants have been filtered through patriarchy, culture, and people's irrelevant opinions. And it's a really great way to debilitate and paralyze women and keep us mentally stuck in a location we physically left. Because guilt is backwards looking. We look back on something that someone said to us, something we did, and we feel guilty about it. And it keeps us stuck in the past rather than taking control of the present and of the future. So it's a really great way of keeping women frozen in time and letting the guilt-free people take advantage of us. Because guess what? Your boss is going to take advantage of you. That guy who's pretending to be Prince Charming wants to take advantage of you and use you for sex. People are taking advantage of you from every single corner of your life. And when you feel guilty, you're too oblivious to understand that. And you're too oblivious to just even take the control to remove that guilt from your emotions and start being more pragmatic, start being more forward looking rather than being stuck in the past. Because the thing is, if you wanted something, that means it's rightfully yours. That means you know you deserve it. I don't want anything that I don't think I deserve. So if you wanted it, that means you deserve it. That means it's rightfully yours. And when someone guilts you into believing you don't deserve that thing, you might as well go off and believe that you're not deserving of clean drinking water or shelter. That's how stupid guilt is. Now, our internalized patriarchy works through 3 different mechanisms. The first is emotions, guilt and shame. The other element is superstitions. There are 6 superstitions that I've identified. I'll share a couple of them. One of the biggest ones is, if I act fairly, then I'll be treated fairly. And this puts us in a false sense of reciprocity with the world. The world is not fair. The world is based on misogyny, violence, sexism, racism, colorism, homophobia, all the isms and phobias. The world is not fair, but it wants you to act fairly, because then it keeps you in this cycle running on a hamster wheel, hoping for a reward that never materializes, like fairness and gratitude. Another superstition is, if I wait my turn, it'll come. Just like how you waited for that promotion at work that never came. Like, be so for real. This superstition wants you to be oblivious to the fact that power is not given. It's either taken or it's created. And you better believe it's not going to be given to the most deserving woman or for the woman who waits quietly and patiently like a good little girl. There's a reason why girls are taught patience while boys are taught pursuit. And another superstition is, if I heal enough, then I won't get hurt anymore. And this superstition frames external abuse as a reflection of internal incompleteness. You were broken because you were hurt, and it's up to you to prevent yourself from getting hurt again. And the only way you can supposedly do that is by healing, not by developing the right tools, not by raising your standards, not by developing unconditional self-love and then turning that self-love into self-mastery. No, no, no. Simply healing. But let me tell you this. If I cut my finger dicing an onion, I can heal my finger, and I should, but I can just go back and dice the onion in the same way with the same janky technique as I did before, and I'll still cut my finger because healing did not prevent me from getting hurt again. But changing the way I dice an onion, changing the way I hold the knife will help me to prevent getting hurt. So this superstition is a great way of making us internalize the abuse and unfairness of the world because it's somehow all a woman's fault. Another patriarchy hack is number 16, master the art of silence. Now, patriarchy, it assumes that power has to be loud. That's why boys are socialized to be obnoxious and loud and aggressive and to speak over other people. But it completely ignores the fact that silence is the only form of power that can't be interrupted. And because we're socialized to equate silence with rejection, and because boys are socialized to think only what's loud and what can be heard or even what can be seen is what's powerful, it completely ignores the fact that silence, it makes them deeply unsettled when we use strategic silence because they don't get the response that they want. And that is one of the most effective strategies for approaching a lot of things, whether it's trying to get more respect in the workplace, trying to set somebody straight after they've disrespected you. There's so many contexts where strategic silence can elevate your respect and can help you manage conflict and can help you get the desired outcome that you want. And obviously the system is rigged against us because we have to prove ourselves. We have to prove that we're not idiots, whereas men get respected by default. But a lot of the time, constantly proving ourselves is actually a trap, and it triggers people's sense of defensiveness and resentment. And that actually leads to two other hacks that are related. Hack 15, which is to let people underestimate you, because there's a really clever and strategic art of being underestimated, because someone who underestimates you is a gold mine of information. They've laid out all their cards on the table and they don't suspect you of anything because they're underestimating you, so their defenses are lowered. So rather than giving someone a piece of your mind, which is simply a form of instant gratification and can again trigger resentment and envy, we don't talk sense into anyone. We show them what good sense looks like and how they were lacking it. And another similar hack is number 8, which is know when to act dumb to get what you want. And this is a very nuanced hack because it's not you acting like an idiot or a damsel in distress. This is you understanding human nature and psychology so well and understanding what makes people tick, what makes people want to act, that you're able to hold them in the palm of your hand. Because we live in a world where everyone is self-absorbed and everyone's trying to prove themselves, everyone's trying to give someone a piece of their mind, everyone's trying to prove how intelligent they are. Those are completely counterproductive. And we're brainwashed, again, to have to prove ourselves and to beg for people to treat us with dignity. But a lot of the time, we can subvert that conditioning and we can actually gain the respect and get what we want by appealing to human hardwiring and the human psyche. Because no matter what external systems are out there, patriarchy or capitalism or whatever, human nature doesn't change. So crack human nature and you can crack patriarchy. And one of the last hacks that I'll give is number 19, treat your demons as your employees. Most of us are living as a version of ourselves that we didn't create. We've been boxed into a certain label or a certain archetype, and we are the embodiment of who we think we ought to be. When you understand this, and when you take control over who you are, and I like to put it this way, your character, who you are, is like your naked body versus your personality is like the outfits that you put on. You put on a specific outfit to go to work, which you might not wear to the gym, which you might not wear to a wedding. So your personality or your outfit depends on the context. And understanding that and understanding the deeper parts of yourself that you've repressed because patriarchy has told you that it's unladylike or wrong to express them, bringing those up to the forefront, accepting them and developing love for them, and then turning that love into strategy can get you so far in the patriarchy. So this hack helps you take 5 of your biggest demons and give them job titles, give them a description, and use them in a way that can help you rather than repressing them and then being at their mercy when you're under stress or pressure and those demons come out and they take control of you. So for example, anger, I've labeled her our general counsel because she alerts you to the injustices, the exploitation, the abuse, and the things that are really important to you that cross your boundaries. And I have a whole job description of how it could serve you because controlled anger can really be one hell of an emotion. When you channel anger into something creative or productive, that can turn into one of the best projects that you've ever created for yourself. This whole book and my whole podcast was driven by an anger I had at being a woman in a world that's meant to subjugate and marginalize me. So those are just a few tidbits from How to Hack the Patriarchy. There's 20 patriarchy hacks in here, and there's so many more things I can get into. This is just scratching the surface. And this book is an updated and revised version of my first 20 patriarchy hacks or girly laws of power on my show. So this book is a better, more refined and improved version of the podcast. And this video was actually requested by one of you baddies who wanted to get some insight into my book. So I hope this was helpful for you and for anybody else who is considering getting a copy of my book. It's available on Amazon and it's also available on my own website. I provide signed paperbacks and hardcovers on my website and also digital copies. So everything will be in the show notes. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time, don't forget that you are the baddest bitch in any building that you step foot in. All right, in the meantime, stay bad. Love you. Bye.